head. You have Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez had popped for clenbuterol.
Canelo, man, I don't know if he's cheap.
What do you mean?
I feel like Canelo juices.
Boxing insiders are calling out Canelo Alvarez for alleged steroid use ahead of the Terence Crawford clash, pointing to his rapid muscle gain and previous failed PED tests. David Benavidez has joined the criticism, questioning why Canelo keeps dodging him if he's truly confident. He claims 5 members of Canelo's team have tested positive for PEDs, accusing the entire camp, including Canelo, of being dirty, which only intensifies suspicion surrounding the upcoming fight.
The boxing fight of all time, in my opinion. So I feel like me, I'm 100% confident in myself. If Canelo was 100% confident in himself, I don't know why he wouldn't fight me. Especially since, seeing that everybody in his team is on steroids, which includes him. He never got on steroids. Of course, how does fight anybody that you can't be tested positive for steroids? All those
I seen Eddie Reynoso on my fight. He said like he came to watch me fight and shit. And then they're like, "Oh, you think?" In my head, I'm like, "What do you think Eddie Reynoso's thinking about?" So are we gonna fight David Benavidez after seeing this fight? In his head, Eddie Reynoso like, "Fuck no, we're not fighting."
Of course. Honestly, I don't blame Canelo. It's fucked up.
It's not even about the movie.
Okay, so $100 million. You think you kidding me?
The first step when you're a fucking lawyer, bro, the only thing you think about is money. I've never thought about money. I've been smart with negotiating and shit, but it's always pride. It's always go out there and tell them I'm a legend. You know what I mean? That I'm gonna live forever in boxing as a legend. That means way more to me than any time.
And I think that separates you too. David, I admire that shit about you. I was like that at one point.
Yeah. Yeah.
and not to just bypass it. Shout out to
Eddie Reynoso's gym is facing major backlash amid claims he provides fighters with performance-enhancing drugs. Canelo Alvarez, who trains under Reynoso, has already been hit with 2 steroid accusations. Critics emphasize that multiple fighters from Reynoso's camp have tested positive, raising red flags about the gym's practices. As Canelo trains for Terence Crawford, many are questioning how he's managed to gain muscle mass so quickly at this stage of his career.
Pressed serious accusations about his gym. And the accusations are that people, or at least the implications are, that he is the one that is providing performance-enhancing drugs or is in some way responsible for the performance-enhancing drugs that are being used by fighters that fought in his gym. Specifically, off the top of my head, you have Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez had popped for clenbuterol 2 times. For Fahim Satur, I'll say that he did it 2 times, even though I think it was for the same fight. But Canelo Alvarez popped dirty for clenbuterol 2 times. You had Luis Nery, who had tested positive, but I think Luis Nery tested positive before he was with Eddie Reynoso. Then you have Ryan Garcia, who popped dirty after he left Eddie Reynoso and went over to Derek James. And then you have Oscar Valdez. Oscar Valdez popped dirty while he was with Eddie Reynoso, but at the time he was still allowed to fight. You also clearly see that you have an issue with the fight that's coming up with Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford, in that you have one guy that tested positive and you have another guy that looks like he's using in order to get up and continue to climb up weight classes. At a certain point in time, and this is something that Rolly Romero has said, at a certain point in time, your body just doesn't do that. At a certain point in time, your body just doesn't do it. I'm 6'2", 200, and should weigh about 210. Closer to 250, but I should weigh about 210. I'm not gonna get up. If I was 210 now at 50 years old, I'm not. If by 55 years old, I'm not. The only way I'm gonna get up to 260 of muscle is if I'm juicing.
Experts highlight how rare it is to pack on serious muscle naturally in your 30s. Yet Canelo's current build looks much larger than before. This has added fuel to the fire, especially given Reynoso's camp's controversial past. Fans and analysts are starting to doubt whether Canelo's transformation is natural or another example of PEDs quietly influencing elite-level bouts.
For a for a 30-year-old. Now you remember, your body grows. Men's body can grow in height and length up until you're to the extreme in your 20s. By the time you're 20, your height and all that stuff is there, right? Your height and your length. In your mid-20s, by the time you're 29, your musculature is pretty much there. It gets harder to gain and put on muscle after 30. So Canelo Alvarez is about to fight a guy that is going to put on 20 pounds of muscle.
Joe Rogan's comments on Canelo Alvarez have stirred real concern across the boxing scene. As an experienced analyst on performance and combat sports, Rogan questioned how someone in their 30s can bulk up so drastically. He explained that natural muscle development slows with age, and yet Canelo seems to be beating that science. Rogan doesn't just suspect foul play. He sees it as almost biologically impossible without assistance. His credibility makes those doubts echo louder in the sports world.
And Canelo, man, I don't know if he's cheap. I feel like Canelo juices. But I'm a Triple G fan, so I'm a say that ahead of time. I just like
There's
Triple
a
G.
lot of money on the line, and if I could get away with it, I would do it as well.
Some tainted beefs.
I think, he definitely got busted once or something. But it could have been from tainted beef. We don't know. But it also could be that we should probably go along and let them do whatever they want to do. You want to see Manny Pacquiao fight or not? Right? I want to see him juiced up, fighting at 45 years of age, coming in with a full six-pack, lighting people on fire.
With the Canelo versus Terence Crawford showdown approaching, chatter around PED use is intensifying among fans and pundits. Many admit they wouldn't be surprised if Canelo was using banned substances. The logic is clear. He has access to elite trainers, recovery tools, doctors, and nutritionists. With so many resources and high stakes, the urge to cut corners can become very real. Critics argue that Canelo operates in an environment where using PEDs is both easy and hard to catch.
Up everybody, it's Williams from TV. I wouldn't be surprised if Canelo Alvarez is on steroids right now as we speak. He's going to be fully juiced with something that hasn't even hit the market yet. Think about it, he's pretty much a billionaire. He has access to everything.
Floyd Mayweather has never shied away from criticizing Canelo Alvarez, especially on the topic of steroid use. He's previously stated that most people are simply too scared to bring it up. Floyd believes there's a clear double standard in boxing. Some fighters get scrutinized, while others, like Canelo, are shielded because of their popularity. In Mayweather's view, promoters, media, and even fans avoid questioning Canelo's actions due to his commercial value. But Floyd doesn't hold back. For him, PED use isn't just about gaining an edge. It's about risking the safety of others and damaging the credibility of the sport.
What we don't talk about is, Canelo. Steroids. They don't talk about that. So we don't know all the fighters he beat. He could have been not clean in a lot of fights.
As anticipation builds for the Canelo versus Crawford showdown, the PED accusations aren't just coming from the media. Fans are firing shots too. Crawford supporters are skeptical of Canelo's size and knockout power, while Canelo's loyalists question Crawford's endurance and bulk at a higher weight class. The noise has gotten so loud that both camps agreed to undergo extensive PED testing before the fight. These tests go beyond regulatory requirements. They're aimed at reassuring the public. The fact that both sides felt compelled to take this extra step speaks volumes about how much trust is eroded in the sport. Fans want passion, but they demand fairness too.
Canelo and Crawford are strictly and consistently doing random data testing in order to silence each other's fan base and their critics ahead of their showdown this September. Now, despite this being a normal thing, the gravity of this fight brings in more attention to their test results, partly due to the fact that suspicion regarding both men have been up as of late, namely Crawford studying bulk and jumped to 168 and his close relationship with snack and
you guys out and dealing. And Canelo not even really a 68 gun. He probably really should be at 60 maybe. And he been hurting these guys. I think he be driving these guys and things like that. So them guys be way bigger than him come fight night. I know that for sure. Maybe probably close to 200 pounds. And he dropping those guys like that. So I don't know. It's gonna be a great fight. The fans want to see it. So be it. I think Crawford should take a warm-up fight. At like 60 or like at least at 60, just to get his body, to fill into somebody a little bit bigger, and things like that. I know when you go up in weight, you gotta, develop that power and not develop the power, but like put that muscle on and be heavy and things like that. So he might not want to take a fight because he's trying to build up right now, but I think he should just to stay sharp and that way he don't have like a long layoff or anything like that.
Nico Ali Walsh, the grandson of boxing icon Muhammad Ali, weighed in on Crawford's game plan to face the physically imposing Canelo. Walsh made it clear that Crawford isn't heading into this fight blindly. He's preparing with precision. By training with larger sparring partners, Crawford is adapting to the strength and pressure Canelo is known for. Walsh sees this as a smart and strategic move. He believes great fighters thrive by turning disadvantages into opportunities. According to Walsh, Crawford's focused preparation shows he understands exactly what's needed to win, and he's leaving no stone unturned.
With Canelo before Canelo's last fight, but then after Canelo's last fight, it seems like it's more 50-50 now. So everything is just the build-up for that fight is just absolutely magnetizing. Like that fight it's garnered so much more buzz after Canelo's last fight, and Bud is Bud. He's one of the greatest fighters in boxing history. He is one of the greatest fighters in boxing history. So it's going to be a fight. It's going to be awesome to watch.
Sparred any of it?
I haven't sparred Bud yet. I haven't been in Canelo's camp. I've met Canelo a few times. I love Canelo's team. Canelo's one of my favorite fighters. He's been my favorite fighter for the longest time. But I have to keep Bud because me and Bud are cool, and I have so much belief in Bud, and I know who he is as a fighter. He is one of the greats. So he could do anything, he wants.
Being around both of them and seeing how they work and train and things like that, what makes both of them the fighters they are?
I've watched Bud, so for Bud in particular, he's calm in everything he does, and that kind of calm is scary to watch because it shows experience. You can see that he's been doing this for decades. You can see it with his shadow boxing. You can see it.
Veteran boxing writer Dan Raphael shed light on what truly motivates Crawford to take this monumental challenge. According to him, it's not about money, it's about building a legacy. Crawford isn't chasing a payday, he's chasing greatness. This fight isn't designed to protect a record, it's about risking it all for history. Still, Raphael knows just how difficult the task is. Beating Canelo takes more than world-class skills. It demands near-flawless execution. Every move matters, and every slip could spell defeat. For Crawford,
I think Terence Crawford is a marvelous boxer, arguably the best in the world, pound for pound. But can you hurt Canelo? If you can't hurt him, I have no doubt he can outbox him. My issue is, if you can't hurt him, what kind of a challenge can you truly pose? What do you say to that?
No, that's a great point. I mean, here's the thing. Canelo Alvarez has a historically great chin. Now, I go way back when he first came to the United States and started boxing, and he found himself on an HBO pay-per-view undercard years and years ago, fighting against the older brother of the great Miguel Cotto. His name was Jose Miguel Cotto, and he had gotten a ton of hype. He had signed with overweight promotions, a lot of those social media. And I had seen him a couple times before that. This is my first time seeing him in person, really paying close attention. And he almost got knocked out in the first round. And I remember Stephen A. almost looking around at media row going, what the heck is this all hype about? This man can't take a shot. He's going to get drilled. He was lucky that the fight was over. The round was over at round one, or there might have been so much more trouble. Stephen A. That was like, I don't know, 16, 17 years ago. I've never seen him wobble, rock, physically hurt since then. He has an all-time great chin going in the ring with tremendous punches. Terence Crawford coming up 2 weight classes, doing damage. Yeah, he's a quick boxer, and he's also a good puncher. in the welterweight division, in the junior welterweight division, in the lightweight division. But even at junior middleweight, which is where Terence Crawford had his most recent fight back in August, when he moved up and he won a world title, he didn't blow the doors off. He fought a very tough, solid opponent named Israel Madrimov. He gave a good fight. He was very close. Madrimov's people seem to think he might have even been able to end it out. But if you can't hurt Israel Madrimov at 154, what the heck are you going to do with Canelo Alvarez, the sturdiest guy in the world, at 168? So that aspect of it is true. You probably mentioned about Charlo. Charlo was there to get the check. I know one thing about Terence Crawford. He's not going to just come to turn up and get the check. He'll at least try. And Charlo, I don't think, really tried.
What makes Terence Crawford unique is his ability to dominate a fight without relying on sheer force. He doesn't overpower his opponents. He dissects them with timing, precision, and fight IQ. Switching seamlessly between orthodox and southpaw, Crawford controls the tempo and forces his rivals to fight on his terms. That adaptability is a serious threat to power-driven fighters like Canelo. While Canelo might boast more size and raw strength, Crawford's command of range and movement closes that gap. His likely game plan will involve avoiding high-risk trades and capitalizing on Canelo's slower footwork. Crawford's finesse isn't just about style, it's a tactical edge. Against a puncher like Canelo, staying elusive while landing clean counters could be the difference maker. And when it comes
to somebody whose style is based around being the bigger guy, being the stronger guy, but Crawford is a very cerebral, very technical boxer, and I think that's why I never really considered this before. But also, I didn't actually realise until I sat down properly and thought about this, just how much weight Crawford has been piling on when he gets into the ring after the weigh-in. And look, these are not numbers that are out of the ordinary, but he's obviously cutting himself down so much in camp from whatever his walking around weight is, and it must be muscle that he's taking off. And perhaps that's why he's only fighting once a year, because there will be some fat, of course there will be, but the dude is not overweight. The dude still looks pretty ripped from what I've seen when he's not in training camp. However, there's not that many photos of him with his top off when he's not actually in training camp, so it's really hard to tell what his body composition is when he's walking around at these big weights. But the fact is, his fight night weight was 169 pounds, let's just call it 170 pounds, which is huge, absolutely huge for a 154 pounder. Especially, it's just shocked me that he's come up from 135 and now he's still putting on that much weight, rehydrating that much at 154. And indeed, to bring us even closer to the modern day, the thing that was posted, and again, this is the second time we've seen this, is why I'm kind of thinking there's a bit of a theme here with Crawford posting his weight when he's not actually in full training camp. On February the 9th, 2025, he posted an Instagram story and he showed himself weighing 186 pounds on a gym scale. Now, that's so much bigger than I imagined Crawford would be. I never thought this guy would walk around 186 pounds, which for anyone who needs the conversion is just over 84 kilograms. And now look, it's not an unthinkable weight for someone, but for someone who has fought as low as Crawford has, who is generally as lean and as in shape as Crawford is, that's a lot of weight.
Marcus Brown, who's watched Crawford train up close, shut down any doubts about Crawford being intimidated by Canelo's size or power. He explained that Crawford regularly spars with much larger fighters, some the size of heavyweights, and consistently holds his own. This exposure, Brown says, has prepared Crawford better than most people realize. He's taken heavy shots before and still stuck to his game plan without falling apart. Brown adds that Crawford never looks rattled during those intense moments. He stays composed, focused, and tactical. That combination of mental fortitude and physical preparation could be exactly what Crawford needs.
Typically fighters, they don't want to say who they want to go for because they don't want to be biased. Much respect to Canelo, but I'm going but there's particular reasons why you're a guy that moves up the way, so you know exactly what it feels like to get hit by the big guy. That's what they just play the match in everybody. Of course. It is, but it's not. Because at the end of the day, it's not like he's just been in there, got in there with somebody bigger than him. He's always probably been strong with bigger guys, you know what I'm saying? It's that boxing IQ, which, William Stroll didn't put up no fight, but he showed somewhat of a blueprint to get this guy, in a space where he's confused and he can't touch the target that's in front of him. You know what I'm saying?
That wraps up today's video. Make sure to stay locked in for more updates.